Jordan Ellis here for talkSPORT MMA. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Robert Whittaker. How's it going, mate?
Good, mate. Good. Thanks for having me.
Brilliant. Well, obviously it's been a few days now since that big win you got. How are you feeling at this time?
Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. To get the result I did in the fashion that I did in is obviously every fighter's dream. And on top of that, to be able to come home with no injuries and healthy and hardy, I'm in a good place.
And people pointed out straight away, I was unaware of this. I've watched every one of your fights since you joined the UFC and tough as well. No KO before this one since 2017. What was it like to kind of get that monkey off your back? I'm sure you were aware of that stat and it was, a big relief.
Yeah, I wasn't really too fussed about it, but the fans were were too enthusiastic to remind me, and now everybody's jumping on me, going first finish in 7 years. It's not due to lack of trying. Like these guys are tough as nails, but I'm glad. Hopefully that can get people off me back for a bit.
And on top of that, it was the fight week madness of it all to come through that. I know it. You are a fighter, and it's anyone, anytime, any place. But still, it's a lot to go through to be preparing for one guy, to not know if you're gonna fight, then get another guy. So to come through all that with a massive win, as you said, it was pretty much perfect. Was that just like a massive relief as well?
Oh, definitely. See, so the muck around with the changing of opponents and everything definitely lend itself to adding some pressure to the week, or just some muck around. It dragged it out a bit, made the week feel a bit longer than it needed to be, just because of the stress involved. But mate, I'm there for work. The task is the same, and I'm very happy to have gotten a win the way I did.
And with the opponent, Ikram Aleksandar, there was a big question mark over him going into it, and I still feel like there's still a big question mark on him coming out of it. Obviously, he's not ready for, someone like yourself or upper echelon yet, but having shared the octagon with him, what do you see in his future?
I think he's a stud. Like, I think it just wasn't his night. I'm a hard fight for anybody in the division. I feel like I'm the hardest fight for anybody in the division, and he lucked out and got me, his third fight in the UFC. So where there's big opportunity, there's also big risk. I thank him very much for taking the fight to begin with, and I'm sure he'll bounce back.
Hopefully, and as soon as you've done that one, talk turns to what's next. You've, as I've just mentioned, you've had this, week from hell, and it's turned out all right. But when people immediately start saying, "What about this guy?" or "Do you want to be back up?" What's that like for you as a fighter, fresh off a big win?
Yeah, now that the adrenaline slowed down, I'm nobody's backup fighter, man. I'm not going to be waiting around for scraps for anybody. So when it's time for me to fight either like Dricus or Adesanya, it's going to be because they're the ones in my crosshairs. They're the ones I'm going hunting for. So I kind of extended the camp from Costa into this fight. Like I took them on the back of each other. So I ripped my family off a holiday, and since Costa, it's just felt like a massive camp. So I'm gonna take my family away. I'm gonna spend some time with the family. I'm gonna spend some time just training, and look to get another fight in at the end of the year.
Yeah, that UFC 305 card is the plan, just to go as a fan now. It's in your backyard. It would be nice to fight there, but as you said, it doesn't really line up in terms of opponents and allowing yourself time properly to train for it.
Yeah, definitely. It's only 8 weeks from now, and I don't want to get back into camp right now. I have to, like, before I flew out for this fight just now, I had to get like a couple root canals, which I haven't even finished. So I got to get some mouth work done as well. And I'll be at Perth, and I'm going to take my boys to their first UFC card. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Just being a fan and just being a part of it.
That'll be epic. And when you do get back in there's plenty of options for you now. Khamzat was the first one to call you out, and it was, for me, it was pretty strange for him to do that, considering he's ill. He, has travel restrictions and things like that. So from your side of things, would you be willing to accept that fight again when you know you can't fight him here, and you know what, he's got this whatever illness he's got going on, and he might not show up.
It does seem strange, doesn't it? I thought it was funny because I mentioned it in another interview, but I was like, where am I going to see you, dude? Like, I'm not running into you anywhere. Like, our paths would never cross. But especially because, like, he called me out a week after he pulled out of the fight. that seemed what, rich? I don't know. It was funny. But we're both middleweights. If our paths cross, they cross. You know what I mean? It's not like I wasn't prepared to fight him the entire camp. It just didn't play out that way.
Yeah, and another guy who's mentioned your name, but he says he doesn't want to fight you is Sean Strickland. I'm sure someone's put these quotes to you by now, but he says, I beat Adesanya. Everyone knows I beat Dricus as well, and Rob lost to them guys, so I'm just going to sit out and wait. Is that a fair point from him, or do you think he's going to be waiting for a long time if he thinks he's going to get another middleweight title shot?
I know UFC doesn't like people who wait and just chill on the sidelines. I know what that means. I don't know, but I know they don't look favorably upon them. And if I'm going to be honest, I don't care what Sean Strickland does. Like, he can do whatever he wants. That's his prerogative. I over here worrying about myself.
It would be a fun fight whenever it happens, and you know, in an ideal world, what does the rest of the year look like for you? Is there an ideal opponent? Is there an ideal date you're looking at?
We'll wait and see. Like October, November, December, they're the months that I want to compete in, because I feel like that would give me enough time to have my break, train hard, put a good camp behind me, and then get in there the best version of myself again. So, yeah, I've never picked my opponents. I'm not going to start now. I'll see who the UFC throws in front of me, and yeah, just work on smashing them.
Can't wait for that one. And I've got to talk to you. Obviously, it is International Fight Week. We have a big card coming up this weekend. I'm not sure what time it goes down for you over there, but will you be watching UFC 303?
Well, I'm looking to take my family away the weekend. So if I'm around and I'm in the room at some point around the same time as the fight, I'll definitely make a point to try and watch it. I want to watch that fight. I want to stay on top of that. But fight cards happen Sunday here, and Sunday's family day, so sometimes I don't get a choice.
Absolutely, and talk to me about that card. Obviously it was meant to be the Conor McGregor show. He pulls out. A lot has been made of that injury that he got. A pinky toe injury essentially. It looks sore, but you've got Ilia Topuria, Islam Makhachev. They're saying you could fight with that. And then someone like Nate Diaz coming out and defending him and saying, he's right to pull out from a fighter's perspective. How would you have dealt with that injury?
Mate, if I had the injury?
If you had that injury going into Khamzat, how would it be?
It depends. Like, it's hard to say. Like, I can see myself going through with the fight, and then maybe I get smashed because of it. You know what I mean? I can't bounce on my toes. I'm very light on my toes, and so's Conor McGregor. So if you don't have your toes under you and you can't bounce, freely, like guys that rely on movement to control the space, it's a big piece, especially if you want to throw kicks. If you're a kicker as well, there's a lot of parts. Like hurt toes affect you much more than you think it does, especially if you're like a mobile sort of character. It's up to him. I'm not. Yeah, like I said, it can affect your movement a lot, and he's a very movement-based fighter. You'd want to be against Chandler anyway.
Especially when he's coming off that 3-year layoff and a broken leg, he must just be thinking, I just can't take that risk again.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, the UFC have always got someone willing to step in. They sorted your fight out, and they've got Alex Pereira in there again. Just from a Spicer perspective, what's it been like watching his rise? It just, Max Holloway might have the belt, but he's like a real BMF in terms of he's changed sports late. He's come in. He's already won 2 belts, and he just takes every opportunity that comes his way.
Yeah, mate, it's wild. You got to give it to him. He's he's where he belongs. He's got the headspace for it. He's got to be one of the best strikers in the world. he's just so consistent in the work that he does that he's quite remarkable, that fella. I'm glad he's a light heavyweight.
Was you glad to see glad to see the back of him, and was you thinking, you know what, I would like to see how he'd match up?
Nah, mate, like yeah, he can stay light heavy, you know. We can be friends now that he's light heavy. But he's a big middleweight. I don't like fighting tall dudes. But I would have, you know what I mean? I would have beat him too.
It would have been crazy. And just finally, before I let you go, talk to me about the rest of your MMA career. You have, pretty much done everything any fighter getting into sport could want to do. So when you look ahead in the next few years, what is left to achieve? What do you want to do before, you're right off into the sunset?
I'm going to smash everyone they put in front of me and get my belt back. That's what I'm going to do before, hanging up the gloves and calling it a day.
Sounds like a plan. I can't wait to watch, mate. Thanks for your time today, and good luck with everything you've got going on.
Appreciate you, mate. Thank you for having me.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.